You were talking about how yoga is that path and the process towards self-perfection. So, how does one understand or expand their understanding of the experience or the idea of self? And the more we expand the idea of self, the more we walk on the path. So, what can be the process of understanding that what all is self is not just the parts, a very small part I identify with, but myself is much larger than what I experience. So, how can one realize that?
And that's a very good question, and basically a question of what we identify ourselves with. Whether we identify ourselves totally with the body and the mind, or uh, remain at least curious and open to the idea that there may be more to us than just the body and the mind. Uh, in fact, most of us do have at least some sort of a dim awareness that there is something more than the body and the mind. So, that acceptance and acknowledgement of this idea that I'm not just the body and the mind is the first step. And then, uh, if we remain open to this idea and more alert, uh, more vigilant, then we would find that more and more evidence that yes, we are more than the body and the mind. Because suppose we get an intuition and then we mistrust it. But then later on, we find that actually it was knowledge which was coming from some higher source, not from the ordinary mind. And it turned out to be true. Now, or say you think of, something which I think most of us have experienced. You want to talk to somebody and the meeting has not been planned, but then you just go out of the house and the first person you meet is that person whom you wanted to meet. Now, how did that coincidence happen? Was it just a coincidence, or was it synchronicity which was organized at a level higher than our normal understanding? Now, these are all things which make us feel more and more that the body and the mind is not all that we are. And then we also find that gradually that it is not just uh, addition to our knowledge. It's not something which is simply intellectual entertainment which we are getting from this type of an understanding, but it can contribute in a meaningful way to make our life more meaningful, to make our life happier and healthier. While I mean, these are being happy and healthy are not the goals of life, but then these are things we want. And in the initial stages, it's not a sin to get motivated, to get further into the path and start trusting that part of the being, which is not very obvious, but actually happens to be behind and beyond what is visible to us.